God is warning you. Don't ignore this message. Before you scroll away, stop for just a moment. Take a breath. Put everything else aside, because there is a reason this message caught your attention. Maybe you have been asking God for an answer. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough. Maybe you've been praying about your family, your future, your finances, your purpose, your relationships, or a door you desperately want God to open. And perhaps you are tired, not necessarily physically tired, but tired in your spirit, tired of waiting, tired of wondering, tired of asking yourself whether anything is actually changing. You pray, but you don't see the answer. You work, but the results seem slow. You try again, but another disappointment appears. You encourage everyone else, while secretly wondering who is going to encourage you. And maybe, somewhere deep inside your heart, you've started asking, God, where are you? Do you still hear me? Did you forget about me? Why does everyone else seem to be moving forward, while I'm still standing in the same place? If you have ever asked those questions, listen carefully, because this message isn't about pretending that life is always easy. It isn't about telling you that every problem will disappear tomorrow. And it isn't about promising that God will give you everything you want simply because you ask. This message is about something deeper. Trust. Trusting God when you understand, and trusting Him when you don't. Trusting Him when the door opens, and trusting Him when the door closes. Trusting Him when you receive an answer, and trusting Him when you are still waiting. Because faith isn't proven when everything is going perfectly. Faith becomes visible when circumstances give you every reason to become discouraged, yet you choose to keep walking with God. So stay with me. You don't have to listen perfectly. You don't have to feel inspired every second. Just listen. Let the words settle into your heart. And most importantly, take the parts that point you back toward God's Word. Because your circumstances may change, your emotions may change, people may change, but God's character does not change. Those are not always the same thing. We want the storm removed. God may teach us how to stand in the storm. We want the challenge gone. God may use the challenge to develop courage. We want the difficult person removed. God may use that relationship to teach us boundaries, patience, wisdom, or self control. We want immediate comfort. God may be building endurance. This doesn't mean every painful situation should be tolerated forever. Wisdom matters. Healthy boundaries matter. Seeking help matters. But when you are genuinely in a difficult season that you cannot immediately change, don't assume that God is doing nothing. Ask, what can I learn here? How can I respond with wisdom? How can I remain faithful? Because sometimes the greatest transformation happens while you're waiting for circumstances to change. Learn to be wise about who you trust. Jesus taught his followers to be wise and innocent. That combination matters. Be loving, but be wise. Be forgiving, but be discerning. Be generous, but don't abandon wisdom. Being a Christian doesn't mean you must allow everyone unlimited access to your life. You can forgive someone and still maintain boundaries. You can love someone without trusting them with everything. You can wish someone well without allowing repeated harm. Some people may genuinely care about you. Others may only care about what they can receive from you. So watch patterns. Pay attention to actions. Don't judge everyone based on one mistake. But don't ignore repeated behavior either. Trust is built over time. Character is revealed through consistency. And wisdom means allowing people to demonstrate who they are before giving them deeper access to your life. Guard your heart. Protect your peace. And don't feel guilty for having healthy boundaries. Your value doesn't depend on your environment. Think about a cup of coffee. At home, it might cost very little. At a cafe, it costs more. At a luxury hotel, it may cost much more. The coffee didn't suddenly become a different substance because it entered a different environment. Its surroundings changed. And sometimes your environment affects how your gifts are recognized. There may be people who constantly criticize you. There may be environments where you're never encouraged. There may be places where your mistakes are remembered, but your progress is ignored. That doesn't mean you should run away from every difficult conversation. Growth sometimes requires correction, but there is a difference between loving correction and constant disrespect. Surround yourself, when possible, with people who encourage you to grow. People who can tell you the truth without humiliating you. People who celebrate your progress without becoming jealous. People who want you to become better. Your value doesn't increase when people praise you, and your value doesn't disappear when someone insults you. Your worth is deeper than people's opinions. God is not asking you to control everything. Many of us become anxious because we are trying to control things that were never ours to control. Other people's opinions, other people's decisions, the future, the timing, the outcome, every possible scenario. But you can't control everything, and trying to do so will exhaust you. You can control your effort. You can control your response. You can control your integrity. You can control whether you pray. You can control whether you continue learning. You can control whether you apologize when you're wrong. You can control whether you keep your promises. Focus on what belongs to you, then surrender what doesn't. There is freedom in saying, God, I will do my part. I will be faithful with what you have placed in front of me, and I will leave the outcome in your hands. David had to wait. David is one of the clearest reminders that God's promise and God's timing are not always identical. David was anointed to become king, but he didn't immediately sit on the throne. There was a wilderness. There were dangers. There were moments of uncertainty. There were years when the promise probably seemed very far away. Yet the waiting wasn't meaningless. David was being formed. His leadership was being developed. His dependence on God was being strengthened. The wilderness became part of the preparation. Maybe you're in a wilderness season right now. Maybe nothing seems to be moving. But don't automatically assume that you're going backward. Sometimes you're being prepared for something you aren't ready to recognize yet. Joseph's story teaches us about delay. Joseph experienced betrayal. He experienced injustice. He experienced imprisonment. His circumstances did not look like a success story while he was living through them. But eventually, his position changed dramatically. The important lesson isn't that every difficult situation ends exactly like Joseph's story. The lesson is that you cannot always understand the significance of a season while you're inside it. A chapter can feel meaningless until later. You may not understand why something happened today. Years from now, you may see how that experience shaped your wisdom. So don't demand that every chapter makes sense immediately. Sometimes understanding comes later. There is satisfaction in announcing, but there is transformation in doing. So sometimes simply work, pray, study, practice, improve. Let the results arrive before the announcement. This isn't about hiding from everyone. It's about protecting your focus. Not everyone needs access to every detail of your journey. Some things are better developed quietly. Your future doesn't require everyone's approval. Maybe you're afraid to start because someone might laugh. Maybe you're afraid to try because you might fail publicly. Maybe you're afraid people will judge you. But ask yourself, would you rather experience temporary embarrassment from trying, or years of regret because you never started? You don't have to be fearless. You can be nervous and still move. You can be uncertain and still take a step. You can be imperfect and still begin. Courage isn't always the absence of fear. Sometimes courage is moving forward while fear is still present. A deeper peace. Don't limit God's ability to work by demanding that restoration look exactly like the past. You may be asking God to restore an old chapter when He is preparing a completely different one. Trust His wisdom. Don't let bitterness take root. Someone may have hurt you. Someone may have disappointed you. Someone may have treated you unfairly. You may have every reason to feel angry. But bitterness is expensive. It keeps you connected emotionally to something you desperately want to leave behind. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying the wrong thing was right. It doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean automatically trusting someone again. Forgiveness means refusing to let the offense control your entire future. You can learn from what happened. You can establish boundaries. You can move forward. And you can ask God to heal what you cannot heal alone. Don't carry yesterday into every tomorrow. You don't have to win every argument. There is a strange pressure today to respond to everything. Every comment, every criticism, every accusation, every disagreement. But wisdom knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Ask, does responding help? Will this bring peace? Am I defending truth or defending my ego? Sometimes you don't need the last word. Sometimes your peace is worth more than winning an argument. And sometimes the most powerful response is simply continuing to live with integrity. Let God defend your name. There will be people who misunderstand you. They may talk, they may speculate, they may criticize, but you don't have to chase every rumor. You don't have to answer every accusation. You don't have to spend your life convincing people who have already decided what they want to believe. God knows the truth. Live honestly. Correct genuine mistakes. Apologize when necessary. But don't destroy your peace trying to control every opinion. Your responsibility is your character. Their responsibility is their opinion. Let God handle what you cannot control. The fire does not have to be the end. The Bible contains stories of people facing impossible circumstances. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego faced the furnace. Daniel faced the lion's den. Joseph faced imprisonment. David faced enemies. These stories remind us that God's presence doesn't always mean the absence of difficulty. Sometimes faith is demonstrated in the middle of difficulty. You may be in a difficult season right now. That doesn't mean God has abandoned you. Sometimes you need to stop asking only, why is this happening? And begin asking, how can I remain faithful while I walk through this? That question changes your posture. Instead of being completely controlled by circumstances, you begin looking for the next wise step. Do your part. Prepare. Work. Pray. But leave room for God to redirect you. God can give you peace before He changes the situation. This is important. Sometimes we think, I'll have peace when the problem is solved. But what if peace can begin before the answer? What if you can sleep tonight without knowing exactly how tomorrow will work out? What if you can say, I don't know what will happen, but I know I don't have to face it alone? That kind of peace is powerful. It doesn't deny reality. It refuses to let uncertainty control every moment. You know the person listening right now. You know what they have been carrying. You know the questions they have asked. You know the prayers they have whispered. You know the moments when they felt strong and the moments when they felt exhausted. You know what people see, and you know what people don't see. Give them wisdom. Give them patience. Give them courage. Give them peace. Help them understand that waiting doesn't mean abandonment. Help them understand that one closed door does not define their future. Help them release the need to control everything. Help them forgive where forgiveness is needed. Help them establish healthy boundaries where boundaries are necessary. Help them recognize what they can change and surrender what they cannot. Give them strength to take the next step. Give them discernment about the people they trust. Give them humility when they succeed. Give them resilience when they fail. Give them peace when the future feels uncertain. And help them remember that their worth does not depend on money, popularity, achievements, relationships, or the approval of other people. Their value comes from you. When fear becomes loud, remind them of your promises. When impatience becomes strong, teach them patience. When disappointment becomes heavy, give them hope. When anger rises, give them self-control. When they feel alone, remind them that they can seek you. when they don't understand what you are doing. Help them trust you one step at a time. Amen. Keep preparing. The people around you may not understand. Keep your heart humble. The road may feel long. Take the next step. You may not know what tomorrow brings. You don't have to. You only need enough courage for today. So tonight, rest. Tomorrow, begin again. And when you feel like giving up, remember how far you've already come. You survived days you once thought would break you. You learned lessons you never expected to learn. You became stronger in ways you didn't recognize at the time. And there are still chapters ahead. Don't rush them. Don't fear them. Don't compare them. Walk into them with faith, wisdom, patience, and courage. Your story isn't finished. The page you're on is not the final page. The season you're in is not necessarily the season you'll remain in. And the disappointment you're experiencing today does not have to determine the meaning of your entire life. Keep trusting God. Keep doing what is right. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep praying. Keep moving. And when the time comes to look back, may you realize that even in the seasons when you couldn't understand what God was doing, He was teaching you how to become stronger, wiser, more patient, and more faithful. So don't give up. Don't let impatience become louder than your faith. Don't let fear become louder than hope. Don't let anger become louder than wisdom. Don't let comparison become louder than gratitude. And don't let one difficult chapter convince you that the story is over. It isn't over. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep becoming. And trust God with the next step. If this message encouraged you, share it with someone who may need hope today. And before you leave, write, "It will come to pass." Then write, "I will not give up." And remember, God's timing is not your timing. Your waiting is not automatically wasted. Your setback is not necessarily your ending. Your story is still being written. May God give you peace in the waiting, wisdom in the decisions, courage in the battles, patience in the process, and strength for every step ahead. God bless you.